This video is just a set of answers to a revision sheet that we have done. A little bit different to other videos in that the answers are going to pop up, then we'll talk through them, because if I had to write all the answers out as we're going, this video would take an awful long time to watch. So we started off just working out percentages and finding 12% of 240. 12% of 240, do 12 over 100 times 240, gives you 28.80. $150 is increased by 12%, find 12% of it first, which is 18. The 150 is increased by 18 to give you $168. A $1,500.95 TV is on sale for 12.5% off. What is the amount that you save? So you save 12.5% of the price, which is $187.62. What was the new value? So the new value was whatever it originally cost, take away the amount you saved, tells you the new value would have been $1,313.33. Last question with this page, if an item was worth $140 and it's on sale for $99, what percentage are you saving? Work out the amount you saved first, which was $41. Then you saved 41 out of 140, times that by 100 for 29.29%. Then we've got some simple interest problems, and again the answers are popping up to this. These first two I've done two different ways to start with. Either way is fine, either way will give you the right answer. If we want 4.2% of 100,000, we can do 4.2% of 100,000 and get $4,200. There's your interest. Otherwise, if you're so used to using the simple interest formula, you can use the simple interest formula with a time of 1 year and you get $4,200. Then if we go down to 5 years, we could have worked out, okay, we get $4,200 per year and it's simple interest, so it stays the same. So we get that 5 times and we get an interest amount of, over here, $21,000. Now, the problem with this is that this asked for the end value, so the end value had to be the $100,000 that we invested plus our $21,000 in interest to give you a total value of $121,000. Again, you could have used a simple interest formula over here where time was 5. Again, you would have found out that interest is $21,000, so add that onto the starting amount to give your total amount of $121,000. If it's left there for 20 years, what would the end value be? Do the same thing again, but this time your time is 20, and you would have ended up with interest being $84,000 no matter which way you did it. Again, if you wanted the total amount, you had to add that onto the start. How many years would it take to reach $163,000? So we work out how much interest you must have had. So in this case, the interest would have had to be $63,000 to reach that amount. Principal was $100,000, interest rate was 4.2%, we don't know time. You can rearrange this or use a rearranged formula from the start, or we could use solve in your calculator. Either way, you end up with a time of 15 years. This person wanted to invest $100,000 in order to make $5,000 profit, so that $5,000 profit had to be $5,000 in interest, so that gave me the $5,000. Principal was $100,000, rate was what we didn't know, time was 2. Put it into the equation, you got all the equation, solve it for R, or again, you could have used a rearranged formula, and you end up with R equaling 2.5% per annum. Next one, we break this one down a little bit, because I'm going to do the first one first and then go on to the rest. Compound interest, because it's just 1 year and it's only compounded once, we still could have done 4.2% of 100,000. But compound interest formula, A, P, R, and N as 1, would have given you this answer here of $104,200. The thing is, it asks for the amount of interest. Compound formula tells you the end value, so interest was $4,200. Financial solver on your calculator, all the values you need here, gives you a final value of $104,200. So again, that means it's gone up by $4,200, and that was your interest. When we move on to the rest of them, for 5 years, if you were going to use this first format we did here, you'd have to do a table and multiply it and multiply it and multiply it. It works, but it would probably get too long, so I wouldn't recommend it. So I would use the compound interest formula to find out your end value with a N of 5, which gives you $122,839.66. Or you could use financial solver. This is a mistake on my behalf. I've written a number down from previously. That should also be $122,839.66. If it was in there for 20 years, whichever way you decide to do it again, but make your N equal to 20, and you would have ended up with $227,695.46. How many years would it take to reach 163,000? Again, you can use the formula with your numbers here, or you could have used Financial Solver with your numbers there, and either way you would have ended up with 11.88. So it's not there after 11 years, it is there after 12 years, so it would take 12 years to reach $163,000. If this person wanted to invest $100,000 to make $5,000 profit after 2 years, what is the minimum interest rate that they would need? So again, I could use a compound interest formula over here, or I could use Financial Solver with these values, and I end up with 2.47% per annum. Next question, I'm going to do the first one again as well. $100,000 invested in a term deposit paying 4.2% compounded monthly. This monthly is the big key that's different in this time, because my interest rate and my compound periods now must relate to months. So how much interest would be achieved at the end of the first year? So if we're going to use the compound interest formula, the interest rate is 4.2% per annum divided by 12 months in the year. And I just like using that in the fraction within my workings. My number of compound periods is 1 year times 12 months in that year to give me 12 compound periods, and that's what goes into my workings as well. I end up with a final value or a future value of $104,281.80. So when I take away the $100,000 I started with, my interest is $404,281.80. Whether you did it on Financial Solver, you get the same values. If this was left in there for 5 years, the only difference is now your N is going to be 60 because it's 5 years times 12 in a year, and you end up with $123,322.58, either way that you do it. For 20 years, your N is going to be 240 because it's 20 years times 12 times in a year. All the way through, your R value still would have been 4.2 divided by 12 if you did it by the formula, and it still would have been 4.2 if you use Financial Solver on your CAS. How many years would it take to reach 163,000? So I've done it by Financial Solver. You could have done it by CAS as well, and you would have ended up with 139.84 months. The question said how many years, so to convert it back into years, we divide it by 12 because there's 12 months in a year. It gives us 11.65 years. It's possible it could have asked for years and months. If it was years and months, this 0.65 times by 12 gives us 7.8. So the next month, because it wouldn't be paid off in 11 years and 7 months, it would be paid off in 11 years and 8 months. A little bit tricky with this is I didn't go straight to 12 years because it is paid off by the monthly, so you will pay it off before the end of the year when you pay off 1 month at a time. Next one for compound interest. This particular one says we have also got $1,000 added each month. So how much interest will be received at the end of the first year? Because there's also stuff added, we're going to use Financial Solver. And what I've got for the first one, number of compound periods is 12 because it's in there for 1 year. Interest rate is 4.2% per annum. PV is negative 100,000 because we are giving that much to the bank. That's going away from us. That's what we're investing. PMT is negative 1,000 because we're putting another 1,000 away. Final value is what we don't know. Compound periods per year is 12 and payment periods per year is 12. It gives us a final value of $116,515.52. We work out the money that we put in because the interest has to be how much more we've made. This is where this one's a bit tricky. We put in the $100,000 at the start, but we also put in 12 payments of $1,000. So we put in $112,000 in total. So my interest needed to be my final value. Take away the money that I've put in, tells me that I've made $4,515.52 in interest. What would the final value be after 5 years? I don't need to worry about the interest. I just need to do all this and find out what the final value was. And in this case, my N was 60. If it was in there for 20 years, my N is also 60, and I end up with $606,432.19. How long would it take to reach 163,000? So my final value is going to be 163,000. It's going to be positive because that's what I can get back from the bank. And it wants to find out what N would have been. So to do this, 43.30 months would have been your answer. Divide it by 12 to get it into years, 3.61 years. If you want to know years and months, 0.61 times 12, because there's 12 months in a year, gives you 7.3 months. So the next month, it's not paid off at 7, it is paid off at 8. So it would take 3 years, 8 months to pay off. This question here is quite difficult. It's probably above anything you need for year 11, but if you understand this concept, you're going to go really, really well. So we've invested $100,000, but we've also put in 24 payments of $1,000, and that gives us 24,000 that's been put in there. The interest that we want to know how much. Sorry, I'll start that again. We want to know how long it would take to earn $5,000 in interest, so we have to add that $5,000 on as well. So my final value must be all those things added together to give me $129,000. So this all goes into Financial Solver. $129,000 is positive because that's how much I can get out at the end. $100,000 is negative because that's how much I put in there at the start. And PMT is $1,000, which is also negative because I'm putting that much in there each time. It's going away from me each time. You end up with the interest being 2.197, so 2.2%. Buying on terms, $1,200 TV is being brought for a deposit of $300 and the remainder being paid off in 1 year with repayments of $100 a month. What is the total cost of the TV? It's a $300 deposit. We're paying 12 repayments of $100, so we're paying back $1,200 in repayments, which gives us a total cost of $1,500. How much interest was charged? We paid $1,500 when the TV was originally worth $1,200, so we have paid $300 in interest. If interest was calculated using simple interest, what was the rate of interest charged? So we can use our simple interest formula, I equals PRT over 100. Interest was 500, interest was actually 300. So I'll fix that up. So now that I have fixed that up and realised another mistake as well, interest was $300. The loan that we took out was essentially $900 because that's how much we owed on the TV. Interest rate's what we didn't know, and time was 1 year. So I equals PRT over 100, 300 equals 900 R times 1 over 100. You could rearrange or you could solve, and we end up with 33.3%. Second buying on terms problem. We work out the deposit. The deposit was 12%, so 10 over 100 times $1,200 is 120. What are the monthly repayments? We need to work out how much we have to pay back first. The question said it's a compound problem, so we have to use the compound interest formula or possibly Financial Solver to work out how much we have to pay back. We are paying it back over 12 compound periods. 1 year times 12 months is 12. The end value is what we don't know. Principal is how much we are borrowing, which in this case was $1,080 when we've reduced our deposit off of that. And my interest rate is 3.5% per year shared between 12 compound periods per year. All that goes in the calculator. You get $1,118.41. That is shared between 12 months, so we need to pay back this amount over 12 months. Divide that by 12 gives us $93.20 per month. So what is the total cost of this TV? We paid $120 deposit, plus we paid 12 repayments of $93.20, which gave us a total value of $1,238.40. I rushed through that pretty quick because I can only make these go for 15 minutes before I have to buy the program. You can go back and rewatch things if you need to.